And I'll pass it back to Tora to get us started.
Okay. Tori, you're on mute.
Yep. So, all right. So we're going to get started. So first of all, the first question we want to know is, can you tell us more about yourself and Senator Kaine's priorities, especially when it comes to making sure young folks have a say in our system?
Yeah, sure. So do you want me to start just a little bit about my bio and what my position is here and then go into that question? Yeah.
Go for it.
Sure. So I originally was born and raised in New Jersey, but moved to Virginia when I went to college. I graduated from Old Dominion University a long time ago, because I don't want to let you guys know how long ago it was because it was a while. But I live in Fairfax County. I've got two daughters, one at William and Mary and one that's a junior at West Potomac High School. For about 25 years or so, maybe 22 years, I specifically worked on campaigns. So I've worked on multiple congressional races, governor's races, Senate races, 2 presidentials. But then when Senator Kaine won his Senate seat, he invited me to come work for him in the United States Senate. And I've been here since 2012. So been here now coming in on 9 years. It's been a great experience. I had a couple other stints in public service. One was for Owen Pickett when I was an intern down in the 2nd CD in Virginia Beach. And I also worked for Senator Robb for a while earlier in my career. And then I worked for 2 nonprofits. One was Clean Water Action, which is an advocacy group that focuses on environmental issues. And I also worked for the One Campaign, which is an advocacy group that focuses on ending extreme poverty around the world. So look, I think to answer your question, Tora, the issues that we're focusing on right now that I think are relevant to young voters is trying to get a bill on the floor that focuses on voting rights. I think that is the most pressing issue right now, or one of the most pressing issues right now, to make sure that everybody has equal access to voting. And that's what I think is under attack right now in the United States. So we're definitely working on that to try to make sure we get that bill to the floor.
Great, thank you so much for your answer. Another question we had is, what are you and the senator doing to make sure young folks have a say in our system and within your office specifically?
Yeah, well, in our office specifically, the good thing about politics, and one thing that I've always enjoyed, why I've enjoyed this line of work, and it is carried over into the official office as well, is that this is a young person's situation. I mean, most of the people that we have working for us in this office are under 30. Some of them are, we have a couple of senior folks as well, like me, but, our staff assistants, our LAs, our legislative correspondents, and many of our caseworkers and regional representatives are young people. So they really help Senator Kaine, shape legislation and also kind of advise him on different issues that run the gamut from everything from environmental issues to military issues.
That's great. So our next question is, our DYC campaigns is to have politicians establish youth-led town halls called America's Youth Town Hall Series. Are you and the senator open to hosting a youth-led town hall?
Look, his schedule is always challenging, but if you guys send me an email, let me take a look at it and we'll see what we can do. So we're open to it, of course. During COVID, it's a little bit more challenging, but of course, happy to take a look at anything that comes in.
Great, that's really exciting to hear. One of our next questions is, what is the senator's stance on disabilities issues, and more so disabilities inclusiveness and accessibility?
Mm-hmm. There hasn't been legislation that's come before the Senate in a long time on disability issues. So all I can say is that, Senator Kaine, if you give us a piece of legislation, I'm sure we'll take a look at it. I mean, equal making sure things are fair and equitable for everybody is important to him. So if there's a piece of legislation that comes up, you guys should definitely reach out to us and we'll take a look at it. And hopefully he'll be supportive.
More of a fun question now. What is your favorite part about working for the senator? I know one thing I enjoy about him is his harmonica playing. That one is that part is awesome. But what do you enjoy most about working for Senator Kaine?
Yeah, well, Senator Kaine is a really genuine person and is a thoughtful member. So I've always really enjoyed working for him because of those two aspects of his character. But I also think that what's fun about working for him and also the United States Senate is, trying to work on critical issues that impact people's lives. So like some of the things that we talked about earlier about voting rights, I mean, that's something that directly impacts not only the future of the country, but also impacts people's ability to make their voices heard, at this moment on critical issues. And then, the other thing that I kind of like doing that is probably not, a lot of people wouldn't talk about that, but we have a great group of caseworkers that help people with issues that are with the federal government. So for instance, if your passport has been expired, we can help you get a new one. The little things like that, or if you haven't gotten a social security check in a long time, we can check in and see why that's happening. And when you kind of help, constituents kind of cut through the red tape to get things done for them is really rewarding to me. And we've got an amazing group of people who work on that every day here in the office, which is fun to see.
Great. Our next question is, how can we help you engage more youth in your office? And what are you kind of looking for to ensure that youth are more engaged in your office?
Yeah, look, I think kind of what you guys can help us with is if there's, events that are going on around the state that you think are an important thing for either for Tim Kaine to get feedback in or for us to be in front of. So, helping us kind of shape his schedule is always important. We try to spend as much time as we can getting in front of younger people, specifically usually on college campuses is usually the place we go the most. But when we get back to normal after COVID, making sure that you let us know about events and places where, he can hear from people and also share his thoughts on issues.
All right, so our next question is, tell us about how you got your start in politics and what advice would you have for young folks who have a passion for public service?
Sure. Well, look, I think my best advice to you is that, as soon as you can, try to get involved in either a campaign or work for somebody in an official office. And I wouldn't be, just look for opportunities even in your local community. So I think it's really important for young people to not shy away from getting involved. So campaigns are a great way to do it. But also, city council, House of Delegates, state Senate, your state legislature is also a great place for you guys to get experience and make sure you get involved right away. I mean, as a young person, I did that. I immediately started working on campaigns in Virginia Beach and Norfolk and Chesapeake. And it was really what led me to this career. So I think it's, really great opportunities for everybody to get involved. And we definitely need more people in public life, more people supporting people in public life, and making sure that we work as hard as we can to get the right people elected to office.
Great. And so for our final question, we have more of a fun one. When not campaigning and working with the senator, what do you like to do for fun?
Yeah, well, one of my daughters still plays soccer, so I spend a great deal of time traveling to her games. She's on the travel team. So like, for instance, last weekend I was in Richmond, so watching her play, that takes up a lot of my time. But I also like to exercise, like to backpack, travel. Unfortunately, right now, I can't do much of that because of COVID. And then, yeah, that's kind of like where I spend the majority of my time at this moment. The other thing is I do have a garden and I like to garden on the weekends as well.
Great. Well, thank you, Mike, for taking the time. So does anyone from the audience have any questions for Mike Henry?
Robert, do you have any questions? Jim? I gotta call you guys out.
No, sir. Thank you very much to just observing and listening.
Okay. Thanks for being here.
Great, well, thank you so much.
Wait,
Jim.
Jim's about to come on. Jim, what about you?
Yeah, Mike, I was hoping that Senator Kaine might join with the other senators who are supporting recurring checks in the future. I think that I was a big supporter of Andrew Yang's campaign, and I think cash relief can be a good way to change up the tax code and basically give Americans a platform to stand on, and especially during COVID, and also kind of works well with issues like student loan debt and minimum wage, because when we talk about student loan debt, the question is student loan debt any more sacred than other forms of debt that people who haven't graduated from school have accrued while trying to start a business or, buy a house and things like that. So, I personally think it'd be more fair to young people if every young person got some kind of relief or support financially, and not just people who've accrued debt. And then also in terms of the minimum wage, we might not get to $15 an hour, but for a federal minimum wage or in every state, improve the minimum wage. But cash relief and recurring checks can help make up the difference and make sure that everybody has a living wage, even if the market might not always support it because of like something like COVID coming along, or because of automation, which is something that Yang talked a lot about, which is the fact that the marketplace is becoming more and more difficult for entry-level workers. So so in terms of the future of the economy, it might be helpful especially for young people, to get support, kind of like seed funding, to get on their feet so they can pay for school and get started in the economy and maybe start a small business or whatever. So I mean, I guess Senator Kaine voted for $1,400 checks and other cash relief, but I am curious if he would consider the recurring checks.
Yeah, I mean, we've now voted 3 times for checks, and we were glad to do it during the pandemic. He is for the $15 minimum wage, as you mentioned. Look, if post-pandemic, if there's some ideas that you guys have about that, share it with us. We'd love to take a look at it. I think he felt that during the pandemic that there was real need, and you're making some really good cases why maybe this may be a recurring thing. And if that's the case, we definitely would take a look at it.
And I believe there's a question from
Yeah, I see. Okay, wait, Jim may have a follow-up, but
Yeah. I just want to say I hope you don't think I'm crashing. I'm an advisor. I'm an advisor to the group, so that's why I'm participating.
That's okay. That's all right. I'm glad you're here.
Sir, I'm sorry. I did think up a question during the
Yep.
other gentleman's question.
Okay, go for it. You can ask your question.
All right. Well, I sent it in the chat there, in that we see a lot of people that will not listen to how their ideas are wrong. And frankly, from what I see, both sides are guilty. Both the Republicans and the Democrats are.
Mhm.
So what would it take, or can we see any actual effort to listen to the flaws in one's arguments?
Yeah. I don't have a great answer for you on this one. I mean, I think what we try to do in this office is we try to keep an open mind and we hear everybody's thoughts. And I think Tim is a thoughtful member. But I do agree with you that there's a real lack of that on Capitol Hill right now. I experience that frequently. What can we do? I think that, something that people should do is when they think about choosing or supporting a candidate, to make sure that maybe that should be a value that you care about in your voting, and see if you can put people in that keep an open mind on things. Like Jim was just talking about, the issues that he brought up. We agree with him on a lot of them, and have recently voted for that. I'm being honest when I tell you that I want to see, and I think Senator Kaine would want to see what the future holds if we should continue that kind of financial support for people. But we wouldn't rule it out either way. We wouldn't want to jump on board right now or take a look at it. We probably would look at it in the future. But Robert, it's a hard thing right now. I mean, we definitely are in probably one of the most, divisive times that I've experienced in my, 27 to 28 years in this line of work. But even though sometimes it can be frustrating and disappointing, I definitely get up every morning trying to work with people and try to hear them out. Even though at the end we may disagree on what the final decision should be. I think right now there's some challenges we have where people gather information. It seems like both parties have different news sources now, and I think that may contribute to it as well. And then I do think at times, members, this is a legislature, so, you have to at times accept a half a loaf or part of a loaf. And right now, I think we're in kind of an absolute time period when people only want the absolute. And obviously that is not helpful to a legislator or a legislature, excuse me.
Thank you. And yeah, just a lot of the times what I'm seeing lately, especially in recent tragedies, is the maligning of the other side and arguing bad faith, frankly.
Yeah. I think your observation is correct at times.
All right, well, I think that's all the time we have for questions. Mike, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today. And we really appreciate you taking the time. Rhea, do you have anything to add?
I have nothing to add, but thank you so much, Mike. It was really great to be able to meet you and learn more about your platform.
You bet. Okay, guys, good seeing everyone. Take care. Thanks for the questions, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.